Commander Olivia Blake stood at the viewport of the starship Artemis, her eyes fixed on the swirling surface of Proxima Centauri b below. This was her 5th deep space mission, but the first where she held full command. The responsibility weighed on her shoulders like the tactical vest she wore during academy training. The mining expedition was supposed to be routine Proxima Centauri. B had rich deposits of rare minerals, essential for the newest generation of quantum processors. Nobody expected to find life. The preliminary scans showed nothing but barren landscapes and underground caverns perfect for extraction operations. Without environmental concerns, Olivia watched as the landing team prepared their equipment. Chief Science Officer Lauren Murphy triple-checking the atmospheric sensors while security lead Patricia Donovan distributed the pulse rifles. Standard protocol for unknown terrain, even on supposedly lifeless worlds. Ready when you are, Commander, Lauren said, her voice crackling through the comm. Olivia nodded, though no one could see her from the shuttle bay. Proceed as planned, but remember we're guests here. She replied, unsure why she felt the need to say that on a supposedly empty world. Some instinct, perhaps a whisper of intuition that had served her well throughout her career. The descent to the surface was smooth, the shuttle landing on a flat plain near the largest detected mineral deposit. Olivia watched from the command center as the team disembarked, their movements transmitted through body cams. The landscape was rust-colored and barren, wind whipping dust across rocky formations that resembled the Arizona desert back on Earth. The team headed toward a cave entrance. Sensor readings indicated the richest mineral veins extended deep underground. Olivia watched as they disappeared into the darkness, helmet lights creating bobbing circles of illumination against the stone walls. 2 hours into the expedition, everything changed. Commander, you need to see this. Lauren's voice held an emotion Olivia rarely heard from the stoic scientist. Excitement. Olivia leaned forward as Lauren's camera feed showed what appeared to be carved symbols on the cave wall. Not natural formations, but deliberate markings. We may have evidence of intelligent life. Lauren continued, her light moving across more symbols. These look like some form of writing. Olivia felt her heart rate increase. First contact protocols immediately superseded mining operations. If confirmed, this would change everything. Proceed with extreme caution. She ordered no sample collection until we confirm what we're dealing with. The team ventured deeper into the cavern system, the symbols becoming more frequent alongside what appeared to be deliberate tunnels, smooth and clearly engineered rather than natural formations. It was when they reached a large chamber that all doubts vanished. The feed from Lauren's camera momentarily blurred, then stabilized, showing a vast underground space filled with softly glowing crystals in blues and purples, the light illuminating what could only be described as dwellings, structures built into the cavern walls with openings and platforms connected by bridges. But most shocking were the figures moving among these structures, tall, slender beings with a distinctly feline appearance, their bodies covered in fur, ranging from deep purple to midnight blue with long tails that moved with graceful purpose. Aliens, Patricia whispered, the security officer instinctively raising her rifle, though not aiming it directly at the being slower. Your weapons, Olivia commanded sharply. This is first contact scenario Alpha. All defensive postures stand down. The team complied, though tension radiated. Through their body language, the feline aliens had noticed them now. Several freezing in place while others retreated into the dwellings. A few seemed to be communicating with quick gestures and what sounded like musical chirps. Lauren slowly raised, her empty hands in the universal gesture of peace, while the translator in her suit attempted to process the alien vocalizations. We come in peace. She said the words, feeling cliché but necessary. The translator produced a series of tones in response. For several tense minutes nothing happened. Then one of the aliens stepped forward, smaller than the others, with fur the color of twilight dusk and eyes like amber gemstones. Unlike its companions who displayed fear or aggression, this one showed something. Olivia recognized immediately: curiosity. The small alien approached Lauren slowly, tail swishing behind it in what seemed like cautious interest rather than threat. It stopped a few meters away, then made a series of melodic sounds. The translator struggled. Processing before producing. We not hurt long time. What want? Question. Lauren looked directly into her camera, knowing Olivia would be watching. Waiting for direction. Tell them we're explorers, Olivia said. Seeking knowledge and peaceful exchange. Lauren relayed the message through the translator. The small alien listened, head tilted in a manner eerily reminiscent of a house cat. Considering something puzzling, more aliens emerged from the dwellings, now watching the exchange with evident interest. The small one who had first approached made more sounds. The translator working better now. "We Murixa, this home long cycles crystals dying help question." It took 3 days of careful communication to establish basic understanding. The aliens called themselves the Murixa and had lived in these caverns for thousands of years, depending on the crystals for energy, food, and light. But something was wrong. The crystals were slowly dying, their light dimming, their energy fading, and the Murixa had no solution. The small alien who first approached the team was named Tala, a scientist of sorts studying the crystals, trying to understand why they were failing. Her people had technology, but it was biological in nature, not mechanical. They had no concept of space travel or other world. Olivia personally joined the team on the 5th day after establishing safe contact protocols. The moment she stepped into the crystal cavern, she felt something she hadn't expected: wonder. The space was beautiful, the crystals casting prismatic light across the carved dwellings, creating an ethereal atmosphere. Unlike anything human architecture had achieved, Tala approached Olivia directly, seemingly able to recognize her authority, despite never having seen her. Before the alien scientist sniffed at Olivia's environmental suit and pawed at the strange material with evident curiosity. "How distinguished leader?" question, the translator rendered Tala's musical speech. Olivia smiled, though her helmet prevented the alien from seeing it. "The way you carry yourself shows you are knowledge keeper." "Important one." Tala seemed pleased by this assessment, her tail swishing in what the human team was beginning to recognize as positive emotion. "You help crystals question. Save Murixa." Olivia looked at the earnest alien face, then at the dying crystals, then back to her team, who waited for her decision. Standard protocol would be to report back to Earth, establish diplomatic channels, and wait for instructions. A process that could take months. But the Murixa might not have months. "We will try to help," Olivia said, making her decision. "Humans and Murixa will work together to understand the crystals." Stala made a sound the translator didn't catch, but the meaning was clear. In her body language, joy, relief, hope. Over the next weeks, Olivia worked closely with Tala, sharing human knowledge and learning. Mr. X-Ways, the human crew discovered that the crystals were dying because of a subtle radiation shift in the system. Something their technology could potentially fix, but it would take time and resources. The day before the Artemis was scheduled to return to Earth for supplies, Tala approached Olivia with what seemed like nervousness, her tail twitching in agitation. The alien scientist wanted to go with them. She wanted to learn about human technology to help save her people. Bringing an alien aboard a human vessel required clearance, but Olivia filed the paperwork, arguing that this cultural exchange could benefit both species. Plus, she had grown fond of the curious alien woman who spent hours asking questions about everything from star navigation to why humans kept plants in their quarters. The Murixa elders gathered in the central crystal chamber to discuss Tala's request, their fur shimmering in the dim light as they debated in their musical language after what seemed like hours. The eldest, whose fur had faded to pale lavender with age, approached. "Tala goes with humans, learn skyways, bring knowledge back to Mir Exa." The translator rendered "save home, save people." Approval from Earth came through at the last minute. Olivia suspected Admiral Chen had pulled strings, knowing how significant this cultural exchange could be. Tala became the first Murixa to leave her homeworld. Preparing Tala for space travel proved challenging. The environmental team created a special suit to accommodate her unique physiology. Tale included Lauren worked with the medical staff to ensure the alien's biology could handle artificial gravity and ship atmospherics. Patricia, somewhat surprisingly, volunteered to train Tala on emergency protocols. The alien was terrified during takeoff, her claws digging into the padded seat. Olivia held her hand paw throughout, whispering reassurances, even though she wasn't sure Tala understood. The Murixa had never experienced anything like the crushing force of launch. The roar of engines, the violent shaking as they broke atmosphere. When they reached orbit, Tala stared out the viewport, her amber eyes wide with wonder. Her homeworld spread below them, a swirl of rust red and deep blue oceans. Olivia recognized the emotion. It was the same one she had felt on her first space flight. That mixture of terror and awe that came from seeing your world from above, realizing how small it was against the vastness of space. Look, Tala, Olivia said, pointing to the distant sun. That's your star Proxima Centauri, and soon you'll see many more. The translator conveyed her words, but Olivia wasn't sure if the concept translated properly. How do you explain stars? To someone who had lived their entire life underground, only knowing light from crystals, adaptation to ship life was difficult for the felinoid alien. The artificial gravity was slightly stronger than her homeworld, and the recycled air lacked the mineral notes she was accustomed to. But Tala was nothing if not determined. She wanted to save her people and would endure any discomfort. The crew adjusted quickly to having an alien among them. Some were wary at first, but Tala's obvious curiosity and gentle nature won them over. Chief Engineer Samantha Wilson was especially taken with the Meraxa. After Tala identified an efficiency problem in the propulsion system that human engineers had overlooked. How did you know? Samantha had asked, inspecting the recalibrated system that now hummed at optimal performance. Energy flows like water. Tala explained through the translator. Find path of least resistance humans make. Too many corners. Sleep proved the biggest challenge. Meraxa were communal sleepers, finding comfort in the presence of others, but Tala was alone among humans until one night when Olivia found her curled up on the floor of her quarters, shivering her normally sleek fur. Standing on end. What's wrong? Olivia asked, kneeling beside the alien. Cold alone, Tala responded through the translator. On Meraxa world, sleep together. Family warmth, safety here alone. Cold. Olivia hesitated for only a moment before patting the foot of her bed. Meraxa customs were different from human ones, she knew, but compassion transcended species. Come on up. You can sleep here. That first night was awkward, but by the third it felt natural. Tala curled at the foot of the bed, her soft purring lulling Olivia to sleep faster than any sleep aid the medical bay could provide. The alien had a way of making the cold metal ship feel more like home. During the jump to FTL, Tala stood transfixed by the viewport as stars stretched into lines of light, her tail perfectly still for once, in utter amazement. Beautiful. The translator rendered her whispered word like, you. Olivia replied, smiling. That's why I'm going to call you Stardust. The translator struggled with the nickname concept, but Tala seemed to understand the sentiment, her eyes glowing with pleasure at the personal designation. From that moment, Stardust became Tala's human name. The crew adopted it easily, and the alien responded to it with evident delight, often purposely seeking Olivia out to hear her say it. Commander Blake, Admiral Keller wants to speak with you. Communications Officer Amy Rogers called over the intercom. 2 days before they reached Earth, Olivia steeled herself for the conversation, knowing that bringing an alien to Earth would raise countless questions about protocols, security risks, and diplomatic implications. Report. Commander Keller's stern face appeared on the screen, his eyes immediately finding Tala, who stood beside Olivia's chair. This is her admiral, Olivia said. Tala of the Meraxa, first contact specialist and scientist. The admiral studied the alien, who stared back with unblinking amber eyes. Is she prepared for Earth quarantine procedures and security protocols? Yes, sir, we've briefed her fully. She understands the necessity. Good, because the media caught wind of your passenger. Expect a circus when you dock. Every scientist, politician, and reporter will want access. Olivia felt protective, suddenly placing a hand on Tala's shoulder. I request that I remain her primary liaison, sir. She is still adjusting to human ways. Keller considered this, then nodded. Granted, but she'll need to undergo comprehensive medical examination, and the diplomatic corps will want extensive debriefing. Understood, sir, Olivia said. Relaxing slightly, your quarters have been prepared. At the Montana compound, the admiral continued, once landing protocols are complete, you'll both be transported there. It's remote enough to give your guest time to acclimate before formal introductions. Begin. Olivia was surprised by this accommodation, wondering again if Admiral Chen had advocated on their behalf. Thank you, Saras. They approached Earth. Tala became increasingly nervous, her tail lashing and ears flattened against her head. Olivia found her in the observation deck, staring at the blue-green planet growing larger in the viewport. What if they not like Meraxa? Tala asked, fear evident in her posture. What if they want hurt? Study. Olivia moved to stand beside her. Earth has rules about treating sentient beings with respect, she assured. Her'll be with you the whole time. I won't let anyone hurt you. Tala leaned against Olivia's side, a gesture the commander had come to recognize as trust. The aliens. Body temperature was higher than a human's, making her a warm presence in the always cool ship. The landing was smooth, but the promised circus awaited them. Security personnel formed a corridor through crowds of media and curious onlookers. Olivia kept Tala close as they made their way to the waiting transport, the alien visibly overwhelmed by the noise, the smells, the sheer number of humans. Breathe slowly, Olivia murmured. We'll be away from here soon. The Montana compound was actually a small cabin on private land, surrounded by forest. It was perfect isolation from crowds, fresh air, privacy. Olivia watched as Tala cautiously explored the surroundings, her nose twitching at the unfamiliar sense of pine and wildflowers. Tala had never seen. Trees never felt rain, never experienced wind through fur, rather than the controlled environment of caves or spacecraft. Each new sensation seemed to delight her after the initial shock wore off. On the third day at the cabin, Tala ventured outside alone for the first time. Olivia watched from the porch as the alien moved through the tall grass, with increasing confidence, chasing after butterflies and examining flowers with scientific interest. It's the first time I've seen her truly relaxed, Lauren commented. Joining Olivia on the porch, she was sent to check on Tala's adjustment and collect preliminary data. Olivia nodded. Earth is overwhelming, but she's adapting faster than we expected that night. As they sat on the porch watching the sunset, Tala finally mastered enough English to speak without the translator. Home, Tala said, pointing first to the stars, then to Olivia. Your home, my home now. The simplicity of the statement brought tears to Olivia's eyes. Yes, she agreed, this is your home too, for as long as you want it. The weeks on Earth passed quickly. Tala divided her time between scientific sessions with the xenobiology team and quiet evenings at the Montana cabin. With Olivia, the alien absorbed information at an astonishing rate, her understanding of human language improving daily. Olivia received updates from Proxima Centauri b, where a small team remained monitoring the crystal caverns. The Merxa were growing more concerned as several of the smaller crystals had completely darkened. Time was becoming a factor. We need to fast-track the restoration project, Olivia told Admiral Keller during their weekly briefing. Tala's people are facing extinction. The Admiral nodded, looking over the data Lauren had compiled from her work with Tala. The solution seems to be a combination of our technology and Miss RXA biological knowledge, he observed. Exactly, Olivia agreed. Tala has identified that the crystals respond to specific harmonic frequencies combined with mild radiation from the Meraxa themselves. It's like a symbiotic relationship that was disrupted when the planet's orbit shifted slightly. Changing the background radiation, Keller leaned back in his chair. We'll need to design specialized equipment. Get a team of engineers on it immediately. He paused, looking at Olivia directly. The Artemis will need modifications for this mission. Substantial one. Olivia felt hope rising. Yes, sir. Full approval came through 3 days later. The Artemis would be retrofitted specifically for this mission. Expanded engineering bays and additional crew quarters designed with Merxa physiology in mind. News that Earth was sending technology to save. The Merxa reached the alien homeworld. The elders requested that 3 more scientists join the mission. Eager to learn and help, Tala was overjoyed at the prospect of seeing her people again. Though Olivia noticed, she never spoke of staying behind. The preparations consumed them, Olivia overseeing the ship's modifications while Tala worked with the science team designing the crystal restoration device, a blend of human engineering and Merxa biological components that would theoretically restore the energy signature needed. In rare, quiet moments, they continued their cultural exchange, Tala teaching Olivia the complex harmonics of Merxa language while Olivia introduced the alien to human music, literature, and food. The Merxa had a surprising fondness for pasta and an unfortunate addiction to ice cream, which gave her digestive system trouble, until the medical team formulated a lactose-free version specifically for her biology. The Montana cabin became their sanctuary, away from the demands of the mission. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Tala watching the flames with fascination, Olivia found herself wondering what would happen after the mission if it succeeded. Would Tala return to her people permanently? The thought brought an unexpected ache. Why, sad question? Tala asked, her improving English still structured like her native language, but increasingly comprehensible. Olivia hadn't realized her emotions were so transparent. Just thinking about the future, she admitted, when your world is saved, will you stay there? Tala seemed confused by the question, her head tilting in that particularly HFY Stay question Siri can oversee restoration. She was referring to the eldest of the three, new HFY scientists who would be joining them. I go where you go. Stardust Giver. Stardust Giver was Tala's name for Olivia, a literal translation of what she considered their relationship to be the human who showed her stars. The simplicity and depth of the sentiment often left Olivia speechless, as it did now. The arrival of the three HFY scientists caused a sensation at the Space Center. They were older than Tala, their fur more muted in color but with the same curious amber eyes and expressive tails. Siri, the delegation leader, watched with evident amusement as Tala followed Olivia everywhere, clearly having imprinted on the human. Commander in Merxa culture, Siri explained to Admiral Keller while Olivia translated. Such bonds were sacred once a Merxa chose you as family. They were loyal for life among our people. Tala would be considered Olivia's kit, her child though not by blood, by choice. Olivia found herself touched by this revelation. She had never considered herself a family person, always married to her career. But with Tala, things were different. The alien had somehow slipped past all her carefully constructed barriers. The retrofitting of the Artemis was completed ahead of schedule. The engineering team working around the clock, driven by the knowledge that they were racing against time to save an entire civilization. The ship now featured a Merxa section, with appropriate temperature, humidity, and lighting, along with specialized equipment for the crystal restoration project. The night before launch, Olivia found Tala in the observation lounge of the Space Center, staring up at the stars. Thinking about home? Olivia asked. Joining Hurtala nodded. Home. Dying, she said softly. We save question, we will try. Olivia promised, placing a hand on the alien's shoulder. I can't guarantee success, but we have the best minds from two worlds working on this. The odds are good. Tala turned to her amber eyes, serious. You already saved me. Show stars, show earth, show music, ice cream. She smiled, a gesture she had learned from humans. I not forget. The launch the next morning went smoothly. The four Merxa, now experienced space travelers, watched with interest as Earth receded behind them. Tala acted as interpreter and cultural guide for the others, helping them adjust to ship life. While the human crew made efforts to accommodate their new passengers, Samantha had programmed the environmental controls to create a day-night cycle, similar to the Merxa homeworld in their quarters, while Lauren worked with the medical team to ensure proper nutrition and health monitoring. The ship felt more alive somehow, with the addition of the aliens, their musical language echoing through corridors, their curiosity infecting even the most jaded crew members. The journey back to Proxima Centauri B would take 3 weeks, during which time the team would finalize the crystal restoration device and prepare for deployment. Olivia established a routine of daily briefings with both human and HFY scientists. Progress was steady, but challenges remained. The primary issue was power. The device needed to generate specific radiation frequencies at high intensity, while simultaneously producing harmonics that matched the natural resonance of the crystals. Conventional power sources were either too weak or too unstable. It's the harmonic resonance that's the problem. Samantha explained during one briefing, we can't seem to match the exact frequency pattern that Tala describes. Tala and Siri exchanged looks. Then the elder Merxa spoke. We sing to crystals, she said through the translator, her voice generating a haunting melodic tone that made the human skin tingle. Crystals respond, grow stronger. You mean literally sing? Lauren asked, fascinated. Merxa's song connects to crystal life, Siri confirmed. We have always sung together when new crystals born. Olivia looked at the engineering specs, then back at the HFY. What if we incorporated that directly? She suggested, what if the device amplified HFY's song rather than trying to artificially recreate it? The idea sparked excitement around the table. A fusion of technology and biology that neither species would have conceived alone. Engineers and Merxa worked side by side, redesigning the device to include what they called a harmonic amplification chamber, where Merxa could sing directly into specialized microphones. their voices, processed, enhanced, and broadcast at the precise frequencies needed. Halfway through the journey, Admiral Keller's face appeared on the communication screen progress report. Commander Olivia described their modified approach. The Admiral's expression, growing increasingly interested. It's unprecedented, he admitted when she finished a true collaboration between species. If this works, it could have applications beyond saving the Mercs a home. Perhaps Olivia agreed, but right now I'm focused on the immediate goal. Of course, Keller nodded, his expression softening slightly. How is Taylor adjusting to having her own people aboard thriving? Olivia smiled. She teaches them about humans while helping us understand Muraxa ways. She's a natural diplomat. The Admiral seemed pleased by this Keller out. That night, Olivia found Tala and the other Muraxa in the ship's mess hall practicing their singing. The harmonies they created were hauntingly beautiful, rising and falling in patterns that seemed to shimmer in the air. When they finished, Tala noticed Olivia standing in the doorway and bounded over tail high with excitement. "We ready?" she declared. "We remember old songs for biggest crystals. Siri know them all." Olivia smiled at her enthusiasm. "The sound is beautiful," she said. "I never knew your people had such music." "Music life," Tala replied simply. "Crystal song. Midaraxa song." Same as they approached Proxima Centauri. Anticipation and tension filled the ship. The success or failure of their mission would determine the fate of an entire civilization. Olivia felt the weight of that responsibility, but also pride in what they had already accomplished. Two species working together, sharing knowledge, creating something neither could have built alone. The Artemis entered orbit around Proxima Centauri, the planet that Taylor and her people called home, looking no different than when they had left. Yet Olivia knew that below in the crystal caverns the situation had grown more dire. Reports from the monitoring team confirmed that nearly 20% of the crystals had darkened completely. The landing team assembled in the shuttle bay, the restoration device carefully secured for transport. It resembled a large metallic flower with petals that would unfold to surround the central crystal cluster at the heart of the Muraxa caverns. Olivia supervised as engineers ran final diagnostics. The device represented the best of both worlds. Human technology guided by Muraxa biological wisdom. Tala stood beside Olivia, her posture showing both excitement and anxiety. Her tail swishing in quick, nervous movements. The four Muraxa had spent the previous night in ritual preparation, singing together in harmonies that made the humans stop and listen. "In wonder we're ready." Commander Samantha announced. "The device is stable and the power cells are at full capacity." Olivia nodded. "Gather your equipment." She ordered standard atmospheric suits for the human team. Muraxa don't need them. The air down there is their native environment. As the shuttle descended toward the surface, Olivia felt Tala's paw slide into her hand, a gesture of reassurance that went both ways. They had come so far together, two beings from different worlds finding connection through shared purpose. The monitoring team met them at the cave entrance, their expressions serious. The situation had deteriorated faster than expected. The Muraxa population had moved deeper into the cavern system, following the remaining active crystals, their numbers concentrated now in a space that was growing too small for comfort. "We need to move quickly," Olivia said as they made their way through the tunnels. The walls seemed darker than she remembered the once vibrant crystal formations now, dull and lifeless in many places. They reached the central chamber where the largest crystal cluster stood. This was the heart of the Muraxa civilization, a massive formation that rose from floor to ceiling. Once a brilliant purple-blue, it now pulsed, weakly with a pale lavender light. Hundreds of Muraxa had gathered in the chamber, their fur appearing dull in the fading light. Many looked thin, their once vibrant colors muted. Siri stepped forward, speaking in the musical Muraxa language, addressing her people, explaining what they had brought from Earth. Olivia watched as expressions changed from despair to cautious hope. The engineering team began setting up the restoration device, carefully positioning it around the central crystal cluster. The design allowed it to embrace the formation without damaging the delicate structure. Samantha directed the power routing while Lauren calibrated the harmonic resonance chambers. "This is where it gets complicated," Lauren explained to Olivia. "If our calculations are correct, the device will amplify the Muraxa song to the exact frequency needed to reawaken the crystal matrix. But timing is crucial. The entire MirrorXA population needs to sing in harmony as we activate the power cycle. Tala had been translating this information to the gathered MirrorXA. The aliens now moving into position around the chamber, arranging themselves in what appeared to be a specific pattern based on tone and pitch. Siri would lead the song, her voice, the anchor, that would guide all others. The human team completed the setup, Samantha giving a thumbs up to indicate all systems were ready. Olivia took a deep breath before nodding to Siri. It was time. The elder MirrorXA began a low humming note that seemed to vibrate in the very stones beneath their feet. Gradually, other voices joined in, building layers of sound that filled the chamber. The harmony was unlike anything Olivia had ever heard, complex moving patterns of tone that shifted and flowed together. The translator couldn't process it as language. This was something more primal, more essential. Oren watched the readings on her tablet, her eyes widening. They're creating standing wave patterns in the crystal lattice. She whispered to Olivia, quantum entanglement. At a macroscopic level, Samantha initiated the power sequence, the device humming to life, its petals beginning to glow with soft blue light that pulsed in rhythm with the MirrorXA song. The light seemed to flow into the crystal cluster, following paths that had gone dark for several tense minutes. Nothing seemed to change. The crystal continued its weak pulsing. The MirrorXA sang with increasing intensity, their bodies swaying in unison. Tala among them, her voice rising and falling in perfect harmony with her people. Then it happened to flicker, at first barely perceptible. The central crystal pulsed stronger, its color deepening from pale lavender back toward purple. The light began to spread outward, following veins through the larger formation. Olivia held her breath as the glow intensified crystal by crystal, the illumination returning, power levels at 60% and rising. Samantha reported, her voice tight with concentration. Harmonic resonance. Holding steady. The MirrorXA song grew louder, more confident as they saw their efforts bearing fruit. The crystals responding to their call, amplified by human technology. Light spreading further through the chamber, reaching dormant formations, awakening them. The temperature in the cavern began to rise slightly, the air becoming charged with energy. Suddenly, one of the device pedals sparked power surge. Samantha called Lauren, quickly rerouting the energy flow to stabilize the system. For a heart-stopping moment, the crystal light dimmed. The Fursa voices faltered, but Siri raised her voice higher, steadying the harmony. Tala following her lead, the other MirrorXA rejoining until the song was whole again. The device stabilized its light, pulsing stronger in sync with the crystal and the song. Lauren, monitoring the readings with intense focus, were almost there. She said, quantum entanglement is spreading through the entire crystal network. Olivia watched in amazement as the cavern transformed around them, the crystals now glowing with increasing brightness, blues, purples, and whites illuminating the space, revealing details that had been lost in the dimness, intricate carvings on the walls, beautiful patterns that told the story of the MirrorXA civilization. Power levels at 90%, Samantha announced, harmonic resonance at optimal levels. The central crystal suddenly flared with brilliant white light so intense that the humans had to shield their eyes. The light shot outward in waves through the connecting crystal formations, spreading through tunnels and chambers throughout the cavern system. The MirrorXA voices rose in a crescendo of joy as their world came back to life. Critical mass achieved, Lauren shouted over the noise. The resonance pattern is self-sustaining. The device powered down its work, complete. The crystal now glowing with natural energy restored to its former glory. The MirrorXA song changed from the ritualistic harmonies to what could only be described as celebration, their voices carrying notes of pure joy. It worked. Olivia breathed the words barely audible over the noise of celebration. We actually did. Itala broke from the group, rushing to Olivia, embracing her in a very human hug, her tail wrapping around both of them. Stardust Giver saved. MirrorXA, she proclaimed, her amber eyes bright with happiness. Olivia returned the embrace, emotion tightening her throat. We saved them together. She corrected, humans and MirrorXA working as one. The celebration lasted for days, the restored crystal light bringing new life to the cavern's. MirrorXA from throughout the cave system gathered in the central chamber, sharing food, music, and stories with their human saviors. Many approached Olivia and her team with gestures of gratitude, touching foreheads to hands in what Siri explained was the deepest sign of respect in their culture. During a quiet moment, Olivia found Taylor sitting alone near a small crystal formation, away from the main celebration. The alien was running her paw gently over the crystal surface, watching. The light responded to her touch. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Olivia said, joining her. "It's hard to believe a week ago these were dark." Taylor nodded. "What happens now?" questioned she asked, her tail curling around her feet. "Now," Olivia replied, "we establish formal diplomatic relations between Earth and the Muraxa, cultural exchange, scientific cooperation. There is so much our worlds can learn from each other." Tella was quiet for a moment, her eyes reflecting the crystal light. "You stay?" question. Olivia hadn't expected the question, though perhaps she should have. "I can't stay permanently," she admitted carefully. "My duties as commander. I have responsibilities to Earth, but I will visit often and help establish the diplomatic mission here." Tella considered this, her ears flattening slightly in what Olivia now recognized as disappointment. "Then I go with you," she declared. Olivia hesitated. "Tala, your people need you now more than ever. The crystal restoration is just the beginning. They will need to learn how to maintain the technology, adapt it, make it their own. Your knowledge is essential." As tail swished with agitation. "I promised to return, bring knowledge," she said. "I did, now I choose." She looked directly at Olivia. "Siri says your family now in Mr. way, chosen, not born." "Stay with chosen family." Olivia felt a complex mix of emotions, relief, happiness, and a sense of responsibility. She hadn't asked for this connection, hadn't expected to find family among the stars. Yet here it was offered freely and completely. "Are you sure?" she asked. "This is your home, your people?" Hela gestured to the celebrating Muraxa all around them. "Many homes," she said simply. "Many people," pointing to Olivia. "Only one you." 6 months after the successful restoration of the Muraxa crystal network, Olivia stood on the bridge of a new ship, the USS Harmony. The first vessel specifically designed for joint human-Muraxa operations. Its mission was exploration and diplomatic outreach, a symbol of the alliance that had formed between the two species. The diplomatic implications of the Muraxa rescue had far exceeded anyone's expectations. What began as a simple mining expedition had evolved into Earth's first formal alliance, with an alien civilization, the Muraxa offering their biological knowledge in exchange for human technology. Both worlds enriched by the exchange. Taylor, of course, remained with Olivia. Despite offers of prestigious positions among her own people, the small alien had become something of a celebrity, both on Earth and among the Muraxa, a bridge between worlds, her insights into both cultures proving invaluable as relations developed. Admiral Keller now headed the newly formed Xenological Relations division with Olivia as his field commander. The Harmony represented the pinnacle of their joint efforts, larger than the Artemis, with dedicated Muraxa quarters, environmental systems that could adapt to both species' needs, and research facilities designed to accommodate the unique approaches of both human and alien scientists. Captain Blake Admiral Chen called across the diplomatic reception, the use of her new rank still unfamiliar to Olivia's ears. A group from Proxima Centauri just arrived. Olivia crossed the room, Tala at her side. The alien's purple fur now adorned with the same rank insignia that Olivia wore, a special commission granted by both governments in recognition of her contributions. Siri led the Muraxa delegation, her fur now bearing the traditional markings of an elder. Her position among her people elevated after the successful crystal restoration. Behind her came 4 younger Muraxa, their eyes wide with wonder at their first visit to Earth. "Welcome to Terra," Olivia greeted them, using the formal name for Earth in diplomatic settings. Siri touched her forehead to Olivia's hand in the traditional Muraxa greeting. "The Council sends gratitude and acceptance," she said through the now perfected translator. "The treaty terms are agreeable." Olivia felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The negotiations had been complex, balancing human scientific interest with Muraxa cultural protection, creating frameworks for knowledge exchange that respected both species' values. "Excellent," she replied. "The signing ceremony is scheduled for tomorrow. The Harmony departs the following day for the cultural exchange mission." Sari looked around at the gathered dignitaries, humans and Muraxa mingling together, sharing food and conversation. "Who would have thought such a day would come?" she mused. "When your kind first entered our caverns, many feared the end of our world. Instead, It was a beginning. Olivia smiled, watching as Tala enthusiastically explained some human custom to the younger, forks of their tails swishing with interest. Sometimes endings and beginnings are the same thing, just viewed from different perspectives. Later that night, Olivia found herself on the observation deck of the space station. Earth, a blue jewel below stars, spread out above. Tala joined her silently. The alien had developed an uncanny ability to sense Olivia's moods, knowing when she needed company and when she needed solitude. Big day tomorrow. Tala said, her English now nearly flawless, though still with the musical intonation of her native language. Olivia nodded. The treaty signing represented years of work, countless hours of negotiation, cultural education, and technological adaptation. If successful, it would open the door for further alliances with other species should they be discovered. Worried question? Tala asked, sensing the tension in Olivia's posture. Not worried exactly, Olivia replied. Just thinking about how much has changed since we first met in those caverns. Who we were then, who we are now. Tala considered this, her amber eyes reflective. I was scientist studying dying crystals alone now. Diplomat, traveler between worlds. She smiled with obvious pride, and family. The simple word held such weight. Olivia thought family not by blood but by choice, as Siri had explained that day in the Admiral office when news of the successful crystal restoration had spread throughout the scientific community. Many questioned why Tala chose to remain with Olivia rather than return to her people in Merxa culture. Siri had explained to a panel of xenobiologists. The bond between Tala and Olivia transcended professional alliance. Once a Merxa chooses family, it is lifelong, unbreakable. Our histories tell of Merxa who followed their chosen ones even into death. Such is the depth of the connection. Admiral Chen had been fascinated by this aspect of Merxa psychology, asking endless questions about how such bonds formed and what they meant in practical terms for diplomatic relations. Some humans worried about potential manipulation. Tala had told Olivia afterward, laughing in the Merxa way that sounded like musical chimes. They think I control you. I tell them, you most stubborn human, impossible to control. The memory brought a smile to Olivia's face. Tala was right about that. At least she was notoriously resistant to influence, something that had frustrated superior officers throughout her career. Yet somehow the small purple alien had slipped past all her defenses. The Harmony leaves Earth orbit at 800, Olivia said. Changing the subject, are you ready for deep space exploration? Tala's tail swished with excitement. Always ready, she declared. New stars, new worlds. Perhaps find more friends for Earth and Merxa. That was their mission after all, to venture beyond the known, to seek out other civilizations and establish peaceful contact. The Harmony carried the best of both worlds, human determination and technological innovation paired with Merxa, biological understanding, and harmony with natural systems. The treaty signing the next day was broadcast throughout Earth and to the Merxa homeworld, the leaders of both species formalizing what had begun as a desperate attempt to save a dying civilization. President Valdez signed for Earth, while the Merxa Council leader, a dignified female with midnight blue fur, added her mark to the document. And so begins a new chapter in the history of both our worlds, the president announced to thunderous applause. May this be just the first of many such alliances as we reach out to the stars together. The reception afterward was jubilant. Humans and Merxa celebrating together, sharing food music stories. Admiral Keller found Olivia among the crowd. His normally stern face relaxed into a smile. You did good, Blake, he said. This started with you and Tala taking a chance on each other. Remember that when you're out there. He gestured vaguely upward, exploring the unknown. Sometimes the greatest discoveries come from the simplest connections. The next morning, final preparations for launch kept Olivia busy. She moved through the Harmony checking systems, consulting with both human and Merxa crew members, ensuring everything was ready. The ship was a marvel of joint engineering, combining the best technologies of both worlds. As countdown approached, she took her place on the bridge Tala at the science station nearby. The alien wore her uniform with pride, her amber eyes bright with anticipation. The bridge crew, a mixture of humans and Merxa, all turned to Olivia, awaiting her command. Captain Blake, Flight Control called all systems go for launch. Olivia looked around at her crew. These people who had chosen to venture into the unknown together. Two species once strangers, now allies, friends, family. Set course for the Tosidi system, she ordered maximum warp. Once we clear the solar boundary, let's see what Harmony can really do. As the ship broke orbit, Earth growing smaller behind them, Taylor approached Olivia's command. Share new adventures, she said quietly. Olivia smiled, reaching out to briefly touch the alien's shoulder. Just like old-time Stardust. That night after her shift ended, Olivia returned to her quarters, finding Tala already there, curled up at the foot of her bed, tail swishing gently in sleep. The sight had become so familiar, so comforting, that Olivia could hardly remember a time when it had seemed strange. She quietly prepared for bed, careful not to disturb the sleeping alien. The Harmony hummed. Around them, a perfect blend of human and Murixa technology, carrying them toward unknown stars and whatever discoveries awaited as she settled into bed. Tala stirred slightly, amber eyes opening just enough to register Olivia's presence before closing. Again, a soft purr rumbling from the alien's chest. The sound always helped Olivia sleep, especially on the first night of a new mission. When responsibilities weighed heaviest, sometimes family is found in the most unexpected places, Olivia thought, as sleep began to claim her. Sometimes home has four paws and purple fur and calls you Stardust Giver. Beyond the ship's hull, stars streaked past as they traveled faster than light, human and Murixa together, venturing into the vast unknown, not as separate species but as something new, something harmonious. The universe was wide and full of wonders waiting to be discovered, and they would face them as they had faced everything. Since that first meeting in the crystal caverns together, humanity had taught the Murixa how to save themselves, and in return the aliens taught humans that family transcends biology, species, and even the vast emptiness of space itself. Now as the ship glided through the darkness, Olivia watched her alien friends sleep and knew, with certainty, that the universe was better when shared.